Alright, in this video we are going to discuss more about the variables. So in variables itself we got three different kinds of variables. First of all, state variables, and then local variables, and then global variables. Let's just start it out. First and foremost, we are going to talking about the difference between state variable and local variable. So state variables is the variables that stores data on the blockchain. So whenever you store any variable, it will be there in the blockchain forever. For example, if you are going to store the data today and the next week or the next year, it will be there forever. It is declared inside of the contract but outside of the function. And the difference between local and state local variables is declared a variable inside of the function while it is executing. After variables executed, the variables will be gone. Alright, so without any further ado, let's just start coding. Right here, still inside of the Remix IDE. First of all, as you can see, we're going to write the license, PDX license, license identifier, and then we're going to use MIT, then pragma, solidity, and then caret as the symbol of greater than or equals to. In this video we're going to use the current version of 0.8.18, and then contract. We're going to discuss more about state variable. There you go. Open up the curly brace, and then let's just say integer, and then public, and then my uint curly brace semicolon. So this function is called state variables because it is running outside of the function. And the difference between state variables and the local variables is running inside of the function. So let's just start with function, and then we call it with foo function. Type external, and then open up the curly brace, and then uint. Let's just say local variable. There you go. Inside of the function variable, in this function is called state variables because it is running up inside of the function. So let's just say we're going to create another detail of local variable. Just delete it again. We're going to discuss more about local variable. D. Open up the curly brace, and then let's just say we're going to create uint. We are going to name the uint with A, and then let's just boolean, which is true or false, with B, and then address with my address, and then we have to create function in order to running up the local variable, and then named with foo, and then external open up the curly brace, and then create another uint which different from the state variable of uint. Let's just say we are going to name this uint with x variable, and then we are going equals to, let's just say 456, and then boolean of y equals to false, because we are going to make the boolean right over here in the state variables as the function that will be worked. Alright, and then let's just create the command right over here, more codes, and then we have to create the updates of the variables. For them 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. We have to create this uint with the true number, and then this is the false number, and then y equals to true, and then we have to update the variable with the true one from this function in the state variable. Let's just type the a as an integer function with 1, 2, 3, and then b of the boolean function with true, and then address with the name of my address equals to address with the value of 1. Alright, so we have to compile it first in this compilement. Alright, succeeds, and then we have to deploy it. Make sure we are going to use Remix London as the injected provider, and then deploy it. Boom, succeeds. As you can see in this down below right over here, and then you can see the detail in this detail, and this a, b, and my address function is the state variables of the script right over here, and then the full function is the local variable. First of all, you have to check this up of the state variables of a, b, and address. As you can see, the value of a, b, and address is not worked. But if you type these full variables as the local variables, and then you update these, boom, there you go. The function worked very well. The a variable of the uint has the value of 1, 2, 3, and then b variables of boolean equals to true, and then the address equals to 1. Alright, this is the difference between local variables and state variables. And then we are going to discuss more about global variable. Let's just create another file right over here, global variable .sol, and then as usual we have to create the lessons first. Fire as MIT over here, and then pragma solidity caret 1.8.18 semicolon, and then create the contract with the name of global variable, and then open up the curly brace, and then create the function and we're going to name it with global first. First, open up the appearances and then type external, and then after this I am going to introduce you with the view function. So view functions is the function that can read global variable and state variables. It is different from pure variable. View variables can read the global variables and state variables. After the view variables, we can return the function as the function of returns with the s, and then open up the appearances and open up the curly brace, and we are going to fill these appearances later after we filter up the function down below. So inside of the function, I'm going to introduce you with msg.sender or message.sender. Don't forget about the semicolon. So msg.sender is the function of global variables that store this address. For example, account of A has already stored inside of the blockchain. So in order to call it again, you have to use the msg.sender of function. And for the data type of msg.sender is address, like this, addressed, and then we call it with sender. We're going to name it with sender equals to msg.sender. And then after msg.sender, I'm going to introduce you with block.timestamp. There you go. So block.timestamp function is the variable that stores the uint timestamp when the function was called. And for the data type of the block.timestamp is uint or an integer, and we're going to name this timestamp with timestamp equals to block.timestamp. And then the last thing that we are going to introduce you is block.number. Don't forget about the semicolon. So block.number is the function that stores the current number of the block, and for the data type of block number is also uint, just like the block.timestamp. And then we are going to name this variable with block num equals to block number. And then we have to return this function. We have to type returned without s, returned, and then open up the appearances. We're going to filter up with the name of the variables, so like sender, and then timestamp, and then block num. Don't forget, in this appearances as well, you have to filter up these appearances with the functions inside of the global variable. We have to fill it up with addressed, and then uint for timestamp, and then uint for block number. Oh, sorry, we have to fill up the semicolon guy over here, and then compile it first. As you can see, license identifier, as you can see, it exists, and then deploy it. Boom, it exists. You can see the detail over here, and then you can check out the details of the address, and uint for timestamp, and then uint for block number. Thank you.